You know that charred, flame-grilled taste that makes Burger King famous? Yeah, about that. It turns out what you are tasting might not be what you think it is, but we will get to that nightmare in a minute. First, let's talk about something nobody wants to admit. Burger King serves 11 million people worldwide every single day. That many people are biting into food that might make a forensic scientist raise an eyebrow. Before you think I am just another health nut trying to ruin your lunch, stick around. What I am about to show you has nothing to do with calories or fat content. This is about something far more unsettling. The flame-grilled lie. Here is a question that should keep you up at night. When was the last time you saw actual flames at a Burger King? Never, right? Because there are not any. Those grill marks on your Whopper are not from a grill. They are painted on with a machine, before the patty even touches the broiler. A former Burger King kitchen manager went viral last year, showing exactly how this works. The frozen patties roll through a contraption that literally stamps fake char marks onto the meat. It is like a printing press, except instead of newspapers, it is making your burger look like it came from a backyard barbecue. The flame-grilled taste comes from liquid smoke added to the beef processing mixture. You are not tasting fire, you are tasting chemistry. The FDA allows this because technically, the patties do pass through heated rollers. But calling that flame-grilled is like calling a microwave a brick oven. The whole thing is theater. Expensive and elaborate theater designed to make you feel like you are eating something authentic when you are actually eating something assembled in a factory designed for maximum efficiency and minimum actual grilling. Want to know the really twisted part? Burger King spent decades building their entire brand identity around this flame-grilled concept. Their commercials, their slogans, their entire marketing strategy. And it is essentially a magic trick. Not illegal, just deeply misleading. Like calling orange juice freshly squeezed when it has been sitting in a tank for months being chemically altered to maintain flavor. The impossible truth about their innovation. Remember when Burger King launched the Impossible Whopper and everyone lost their minds about how progressive and health conscious they were? Plot twist, that sandwich has more sodium than a regular Whopper. That is 1,240 milligrams of sodium in one burger. That is over half your daily limit before you even look at the fries. But here is where it gets interesting. The Impossible Whopper has 58 ingredients. 58. A regular beef. Whopper has around 30. So the plant-based option that everyone thinks is healthier literally has twice as many ingredients, most of which you would need a biochemistry degree to pronounce. Soy legumoglobin, methylcellulose, zinc gluconate, and my personal favorite, thiamine mononitrate. A nutritionist I interviewed put it this way: the Impossible Whopper is not health food. It is a science experiment wrapped in a marketing campaign. The regular Whopper is bad for you. The Impossible Whopper is bad for you differently. Neither one should be confused with actual food. The genius of Burger King's move here is that they captured an entirely new market segment while making their core customers feel like they had options. It is not about health. It has never been about health. It is about making you feel less guilty about your choices while they profit from both sides of the menu. What's really in that sauce? Let's talk about something that will probably ruin your next Whopper, the secret sauce situation. You know how they make such a big deal about their signature sauce? Here is what is actually in it. High fructose corn syrup is the second ingredient, right after water. Before tomatoes, before pickles, before anything that might resemble real food. That sauce has 19 separate ingredients. 19 for a sauce. My grandmother's sauce recipe has 4 ingredients, and it tastes better than anything that has ever come out of a Burger King kitchen. But hers does not have sodium benzoate as a preservative, which is probably why it goes bad in a week instead of surviving longer than most Hollywood marriages. The real kicker? That special sauce costs Burger King about 3 cents per serving to make. They are charging you extra for 3 cents worth of corn syrup and chemicals while convincing you it is some kind of culinary secret. It is not a secret. It is a spreadsheet. Every ingredient is chosen not for taste, but for shelf life, cost efficiency, and addictive properties. Food scientists have a term for this kind of formulation: hyperpalatable. It is engineered to hit your taste receptors in a way that makes your brain want more, regardless of whether you are actually hungry. That is why you can demolish a Whopper and large fries and somehow still be thinking about food an hour later. It is not satisfying your hunger. It is triggering your dopamine response. The chicken nobody talks about. Ever notice how suspiciously smooth and uniform their chicken patties are? Like every single one is identical? That is because they are mechanically separated chicken, pressed into molds under high pressure. The process is technically called meat slurry formation, and if you ever saw it happening, you would probably never eat another chicken sandwich again. Here is how it works. They take chicken parts that cannot be sold as actual chicken pieces, grind them into a paste, add binders and preservatives, then compress this mixture into perfect shapes. The result looks like chicken. It is labeled as chicken, but calling it chicken is like calling Velveeta cheese. Technically accurate, spiritually devastating. A former food processing plant worker told me something I wish I could unhear. The mechanical separation process involves pushing chicken through machines at such high pressure that it heats the meat through friction alone. No cooking is required yet, just pressure and physics turning what used to be an animal into something that resembles spackling paste. Then they add artificial chicken flavor back in, because the process removes most of the natural taste. Yes, they add chicken flavor to chicken. Let that sink in. The USDA allows up to 15% of the final product to be labeled mechanically separated poultry residue. That is government speak, meaning authorities acknowledge uncertainty about exactly what it contains, only that it came from a bird. And before you think this is unique to Burger King, it is not. Most fast food chains do this. Burger King just happens to be particularly efficient at it. The psychology of the parking lot. Here is something nobody thinks about. Why do so many Burger King locations look like they are slowly being reclaimed by nature? Peeling paint, cracked parking lots, lights that have not worked since the Bush administration. And I am not talking about the recent one. There is a calculated reason for this. Studies show that customers at lower maintenance fast food locations spend less time deliberating about their food choices. The environment communicates that this is not fine dining, and it gives you permission to make an unhealthy choice without the cognitive dissonance that might stop you. Compare this to how they design the interior menu boards. Those boards are pristine, backlit, and constantly updated with photos of food that look nothing like what you will actually receive. The disconnect is intentional. They get you in the door with low standards, then upsell you with aspirational images of how your meal could look in an alternate universe where food photographers run burger joints. The drive-through timer is another mind game. That digital clock pressuring the workers is not just about efficiency. It is training you to make faster decisions. The faster you order, the less time you have to question what you are about to eat. Notice how they always confirm your order very quickly and move you along? That is not customer service. That is preventing buyer's remorse before the transaction completes. The size manipulation game. Here's a fun exercise. Order small fries from Burger King. Now count them. Somewhere between 45 and 50 fries, depending on the location. A large is about 95 fries. You are paying roughly twice as much for approximately twice as many fries. Seems fair, right? Wrong. The small fries cost them about 15 cents to make. The large costs about 22 cents, but they are charging you $2.89 for the small and $4.39 for the large. The markup on the large is less, so they make you feel like you are getting a deal by upselling. It is not a deal. It is just a different level of markup. Either way, they are winning. This is why they train workers to always ask if you want to size up. Not because they think you need more fries, but because the profit margin is so insane that even a 30% conversion rate on that question adds millions to their annual revenue. The phrase, "Would you like to make that a large?" is worth approximately $4.2 million per year to Burger King. I am not making that number up. That comes from their own franchise operator training materials. The real psychological trick is the medium size. It is priced just close enough to the large that most people think, well, for 50 cents more. But the medium is actually where their profit margin is highest. The small seems too small. The large seems excessive, so everyone gravitates to the middle option, which is exactly what they want. Behavioral economics playing out in real time over French fries. What happens to your body in 72 hours? A gastroenterologist once told me something that fundamentally changed how I think about fast food. When you eat a Whopper meal, your body treats it like an invasion. Your digestive system does not recognize half the ingredients as food, so it triggers an inflammatory response. Not enough to make you sick, just enough to make your body work overtime trying to process what you just consumed. Within the first hour, your blood sugar spikes from the refined carbohydrates in the bun and the high fructose corn syrup in practically everything. Your pancreas floods your system with insulin to cope. Then comes the crash, which is why you feel tired after eating. That is not a food coma. That is your body struggling with the biochemical chaos you just introduced. The sodium content hits your kidneys within hours. One Whopper meal has roughly 1,700 milligrams of sodium. Your kidneys can process about 400 milligrams per hour. Do the math. That is over 4 hours of your kidneys working at maximum capacity just to clear out one meal. This is not occasional stress. This is sustained assault if you are eating there regularly. By day 3, if you stopped eating Burger King entirely, you would notice something weird. You would be less hungry. Not because you are eating less food, because you are eating less hyperpalatable engineered food designed to make you want more food. Your body's natural hunger cues start working properly again. It is like coming off a drug you did not realize you were addicted to. The franchise horror show. Here is something Burger King corporate does not want you thinking about. They do not own most of their restaurants. About 95% of Burger King locations are franchises. That means quality control is inconsistent. A franchise owner in Texas got shut down last year because health inspectors found the meat freezer had been broken for 3 days. 3 days. The owner's solution was to keep serving the meat anyway, because it still smelled fine. That location served approximately 400 customers before someone finally called the health department. Those 400 people have no idea they ate potentially contaminated meat because Burger King's official response was to quietly close the location for renovation. This is not an isolated incident. Burger King franchise violations are remarkably common compared to other fast food chains. We are talking rodent infestations, employees not washing hands, meat stored at improper temperatures, expired ingredients being used anyway because throwing them out affects the profit margin. And before you think this is just a few bad actors, remember, these are the ones that got caught. The franchise model means corporate can maintain plausible deniability. When something goes wrong, it is not Burger King CIS fault. It is that one franchise owner who was not following protocols. Never mind that the protocols themselves are designed for maximum profit rather than maximum safety. Never mind that franchise owners are under immense pressure to cut costs wherever possible because their margins are razor thin. The breakfast chai chip. Quick question. When you think breakfast sandwich, do you think about something made from reconstituted egg powder mixed with water and yellow dye number 5? No. Well, surprise. That's what you're eating. Burger King's EGs aren't really eggs in the traditional sense. They're a premium egg blend, which is corporate speak for, we started with eggs, then added a bunch of stuff until it could survive a nuclear winter. The ingredient list includes modified cornstarch, soybean oil, artificial butter flavor, and something called medium-chain triglycerides, which sounds like something a chemistry professor would use to torture undergrads. The bacon on your croissant sandwich has been pre-cooked, frozen, shipped across the country, and then reheated on the same grill where they make burgers. That cross-contamination of flavors, that's not a bug, that's a feature. They want everything to taste vaguely similar, so your brain associates all Burger King food with that same dopamine hit. But the truly offensive part is the croissant. A real croissant requires butter, flour, time, and actual baking skill. The Burger King croissant is made from a frozen dough puck that's more air than substance, containing 19 ingredients, including azotic carbonamide. That's the same chemical they use to make yoga mats and shoe soles. The FDA approved it for food use, which says more about the FDA than it does about food. The drink scam you're falling for. Ever wonder why Burger King pushes their drink deals so aggressively? Because fountain drinks have a 1,200% markup. That's not a typo. 1,200%. The cup costs more than the liquid inside it. The ice definitely costs more than the liquid inside it. A large Coke that sells for $2.89? It costs Burger King approximately 23 cents to produce, including the ice, including the cup, including the straw. This is why they're perfectly happy to offer free refills. Even if you drink 4 large sodas, they're still making absurd profit, and they're betting you will not actually drink 4. They're betting you will drink 1, feel overfull, and leave the rest, which most people do. The average customer takes advantage of about 1.3 refills, meaning Burger King's effective profit margin on drinks is still over 1,000%. The really insidious part is how they have trained everyone to order combo meals. The combo deal is not a deal. It is a way to force you to buy a drink at an inflated price by making you feel like you are saving money. If you ordered everything separately, you would probably skip the drink. But the combo makes it feel included. You are not saving $1.50. You are spending $2.89 on 23 cents worth of syrup water because they made you think you were getting a bargain. The environmental disaster. Want to feel even worse about your Whopper? Burger King goes through approximately 2.5 million pounds of packaging every single day. Most of it is non-recyclable. That wrapper your burger came in is coated with chemicals that make it grease-proof, which also makes it impossible to recycle. It will sit in a landfill for roughly 500 years. The plastic lids on their drinks contain polystyrene, a known endocrine disruptor. You are not just eating questionable food. You are drinking through a lid that is slowly leaching chemicals into your beverage. Here is what should make you angry. Burger King could switch to compostable packaging, but it costs about 4 cents more per meal. Across 11 million daily customers, that adds up fast. So instead of eating the cost, they are letting the planet eat the consequences. The kids' meal manipulation. This might be the darkest part of the whole operation. Burger King specifically markets to children, knowing full well that taste preferences formed before age 10 tend to last a lifetime. Get a kid hooked on Whoppers early, and you have a customer for 60 years. The toys in kids' meals are not just toys. They are psychological conditioning tools. Studies show that children associate positive emotions from the toy with positive emotions toward the food. Even if the food makes them feel sluggish or sick afterward, the toy creates a positive anchor. It is Pavlovian conditioning with plastic figurines. But here is what really gets me. The kids' meals are nutritionally devastating. A kid's cheeseburger meal with small fries and a small soda contains 780 calories, 36 grams of fat, and 1,100 milligrams of sodium. That is more sodium than a 7-year-old should consume in an entire day, delivered in one meal. And Burger King knows this. They have nutritionists on staff. They see the data. They just do not care. Because the profit margin on kids' meals is enormous. Here is a challenge. Stop eating at Burger King for exactly 30 days. Not as a diet, just as an experiment to see how you feel. Within the first week, your skin will probably look better. That is your body purging excess sodium. In week 2, your energy levels stabilize, and you will have no more mid-afternoon crashes. By week 3, something interesting happens. You will walk past a Burger King, and that smell that used to make your mouth water will suddenly seem wrong. Your brain remembers food is not supposed to smell like that uniform, that engineered. Week 4 is when most people realize they do not actually miss it. They miss the convenience and the habit. But the food itself? Not so much. Convenience is what keeps people coming back. I am not saying never eat at Burger King again. I am saying know what you are actually eating before you do. Real food spoils. Real food varies. Real food does not need 58 ingredients. Real food matters. That Whopper is not food. It is a product. Manufactured, tested, optimized, and marketed to hit your taste receptors and your wallet with maximum efficiency. Whether you are okay with that is your call. But at least now, you know what you are buying when you pull into that drive-thru.